Hello and welcome to this new episode of Continuum Gaming, and in this episode I want to talk about a SailfishOS related topic, but it's more or less very important for other smartphone systems and so on and so forth too. But since we are on SailfishOS, we are going to talk about the apps and stuff like that. That is going to help you with it, but the principles are the same for any kind of smartphone today, because the technology we are talking about is more or less at the device level always the same. And what are we going to talk about? It's of course the battery health of your smartphone, and in the end it's all about charging a smartphone in the right way. There are other things which are going to affect the battery health, like for instance the room temperature or the outside temperature of your smartphone, of course the inside temperature of the smartphone even more. But in the end, what we are focusing on is how to charge your smartphone in the right way in this episode. And for that I have my mighty Sony Xperia 10 Mark III in this case here, which we can work with. It's very important that you start with all this process and think about that from the start up. So it's a good idea to start as early as possible. It's still a good idea to get into it if you didn't start up at the start, but you will achieve the most from it if you really start when you bought your smartphone and more or less installed SailfishOS on it, and after that you are going to use this and start with this method. As always, I'm going to use Screencast, have my laptop at the side here, and we are going to have a look at my smartphone screen on the big screen here. And you will be able to see everything I'm going to do on the smaller screen here, but I'm trying to show you everything on the smaller screen too, but of course it's much better to see on this one, especially because there might be some glare and stuff like that from some of the lights I'm using here, and so it's a good idea to look at that. Anyway, you will see a little bit of a lag on that. That's just normal for this kind of technology. Here's my smartphone, as you can see. Something like that, for instance, you will see that it will take a little bit longer to be on the screen there, and that's just a lag. That is going to be normal in this case. Okay, so let's have a look at the different kind of apps we can use and what we should do about the charging in the end. Problem with charging is more or less that the standard behavior of most of the smartphones is that they are going to be charged to more or less 100%. That seems to be fine for everything, but it's really not, because you should really be very careful with the lithium-ion accus or the lithium-ion batteries, lithium-ion batteries, I would say it's called in English, I'm not sure. In the end, those should best be run all the time around about 80% of charge. That would be the best optimal one where it's probably staying alive the longest, and that's what we're talking about. If you are overcharging it over these, let's say 80 or 90%, it depends a little, but something like that, then you are more or less hurting your battery. Not the life at one charge, but the health more or less of your battery for all the different reasons. I will have a little chart on here if you want to have a look at it. There's a link down below where you can go to that and see why that is happening. But in the end, very important, please make sure that your battery is only charged to a certain amount, and after that just use it, get it, I don't know, to 60% or whatever, down below again, and recharge it after that, and don't charge it to the full 100% level, because that might hurt it. What should we do for that? In the end, I'm just going to go to my smartphone here, and I'm just going to show you a couple of different things which are available there. One, for instance, is already implemented in SailfishOS. You can use it right away if you want to. It's a good starting point. So go to your settings. As you can see, these are my settings page. I have just put them in this folder, but in the end that's more or less that. And here you can already scroll down in this system tray part, go down below and search for the battery or accu in Germany, or in German if it's a rechargeable battery, but battery in the end. If you click on that, you already can see there are a couple of different options here, and there are the limits more or less when you should go and do stuff. The energy level one isn't important in our case. You can use it if you want to, you don't have to, just use it as you want. More important is this battery, it's aging protection or whatever. And if you see this, there's the loading mode, which is at normal at the moment. Normal means that he's going to charge it up to 100% and it's going down below to 0%, and that's more or less what's going on there. That's not what we want. But we won't do it in this case here because there's an app which does it even better. But if you don't want to install an app, please make sure that you are going to click on that one. Go to your normal part here and use the second option, which is more or less use a limit. If you put this in, you can already see, okay, hey, please finish the loading or the battery charging more or less at 90%. That's already a good idea, good thing to do. You can even click on that and go to 80% if you want to. I'm using 90% because that's fine. It's a good value because of course you want to have enough juice for the day and stuff like that, or for the stuff to do, and with a little bit of protection there, or better to say security in there, of course. But still, this one would be the first thing to do if you wouldn't use an app, just to let you know. If you really don't want to use an app, use at least this, put it in, it's better than nothing, and you really should use this. If you are using an app, then please make sure that this is at normal, because the app will more or less control the behavior of the charging there, and that's probably even better because the app can do a little bit more than the standard one here. Of course, this is a lower level, so it's nice to have that, but whatever. Just to let you know, you don't have to let the app run all the time or something. It's going to work still if you are just setting it up once and it's working then. So let's go to my folder again, because in here you can, there we are. Here you see the stuff I told you about. In here you can see already the two different other apps I have here. One is Battery Buddy and one is Charging Control, more or less, or Charge Control, I think it's in English. Both are very, very interesting. You don't actually need the charge control very much if you are using Battery Buddy, because Battery Buddy is really one of the best apps you can get in this situation. But this one has one little thing which I really like somehow too, but it's more for developer reasons or something like that, probably because here is only one thing that you can do more. Just let's start with Battery Buddy. So first off, I'm going to go in here. To get that, you just go to your Storeman app, for instance, and just type in Battery Buddy, and it will be the first entry you will see there. It's very easy to find, and it's really a nice one. As you already can see, Battery Buddy is at the moment telling us, hey, we have this kind of a charge. So we have a couple of different informations here. This kind of a charge. We have some kind of an uncharging, so more or less we are doing something with the smartphone. It's going to take a little bit of juice out of our smartphone here. I'm running this client here to run everything and show you everything. So it's a little bit higher than the normal one would be, because of course I'm doing stuff with it now. Second thing, is there a charging device attached to it? Can already see, no it isn't, so he's telling you no. And here is the status, so is it charging or is it at the moment just more or less getting uncharged or whatever, or more or less there's juice going out of the battery, then it's this one. And he's telling you, hey, how is your battery? So has it already a problem or not? No, it doesn't. It's okay for me. Good temperature, or fine temperature in the end. And this is more or less what you can see here. And now you could think, hey, okay, that's all that this app can do? No, it can't. It can do more. Have a look at the point there and have a look at the upper level menu there. If I go over here, as you can see, we have the settings now. So just right there. You can already see, okay, this one is a good thing. So please make sure that you are activating the services more or less. It's, I think, on by default, but if it's not, please activate it. And then we are going to go to this automatic charging limit. And this one has an upper and a down level more or less. And that's a good thing too, because let's say you are setting it up to 90% like I did here, and you set it up to 75% like this one. It will always, if you are charging the device and you are just putting in your charger, and for instance you are charging overnight or something, which some of the experts say don't do that, but more or less for this reason, and the app will use more or less this information to make that pretty much obsolete, so you can charge overnight with that. And in the end, as you can see, this is the upper level, so it will only charge to 90%. After that it will just cut off the charging. And the lower level is something, if it's between 90 and 75%, it's not going to recharge it. So one of the problems that could occur, for instance, if you are going to use this part here, you're going to 90%, then let's say you're leaving it there at wherever it's going to lie there, and you're not getting rid of the charger at this moment, then it's going to, let's say, go to 89% again, and it's going to recharge again. So you have a lot of recharging cases or more or less orders there, and he's always going to recharge, and then it's going to go down 1%, recharge, down 1%, and so on and so forth. This is of course not good again, because it's always this charging cycles you're going to have there, which should not happen. This one is telling the smartphone now, hey, please make sure that, it goes up to 90% at the max, and if it's then going down below under 75 again, at that moment, that will be reset and he can go up again to 90%. So it's not uncommon that with this setting you will not see 90% if you're going to plug off your charger at the morning or something. Maybe there's only 80% in there, but that's totally fine, because then the software here worked like it should and everything should be fine. If you go down below again, you see a couple of other things here. For instance, when is he going to tell you, hey, the battery is ready or is charged up, so you can set that. So just the information, the notification, if it's done or not, is going to be fired up by 85%, for instance, in this case. And here is more or less, he's telling you, hey, when should I tell you that the battery status is more or less low, so there's not much juice left there. This would be the other one. Okay, what can you see here after that? For instance, this is the charging interval, so the 90 and 75%, when is the 75% part again reset more or less, then you can go and put this up. It just depends on what you can want to do here. I will just leave it at standard because most people don't charge that much or don't have that much of things running on your smartphone. If you're a heavy user, you might lower that to something else, 12 hours maybe, or even lower. I don't know, just have a look at that. Same thing with the other parts here. So when is that other limit going to help you or tell you what's going on and so forth. If you want to read all of this, just do it. I think most of the stuff is already covered. If you are going to have a look at, not even this, the two first entries here are the most important. If you are going to set that up, your battery life will increase, or the battery health will at least not degrade anymore, okay? Not that much at least. So, in the end, that was this. This is Battery Belly, and it's already the, close to perfect one. You can even have a look at the log files here. If you see this, you can now see, hey, what was the battery charging, how much battery was left, so on and so forth, and see what's going on here, just to make sure that everything is in the right place. This is just a log where you can see it. There are a couple of other apps where you could have some kind of a diagram from this log and stuff like that. I don't see that that's necessary, so just do whatever you want. If you want to have such a nice part there, go to the store again, search for battery. There are a couple of apps like Battery Graph or whatever, which are going to tell you more than this. yeah, if you want to read about everything, here is more or less a technical background why this is happening and why it's good to use something like this. So if you don't trust me, just go into the app, read it there. That's fine too. Or as mentioned before, I'm going to put down a link in the description box of this video so you can read it there too. So let's have a look at the last entry of this episode, because there is one more, which is of course the charge control. Charge control more or less does more or less the same as you already know, but with a little bit of a downer for the battery body. So the battery body is going to really overpower most of the stuff that you can see here. But one thing is in here which is pretty interesting, because you can go to the manual mode. If you go to the manual mode up there, you can really tell the smartphone, hey, please don't charge at the moment. So even if somebody is going to plug in the charger, for instance, you can just more or less limit charging or tell them, no, please don't charge at the moment, because I, for instance, am developing and it would be all the time charging and going up and down again and stuff like that. So I don't want that, or I want to simulate stuff. Then I really can go and put this up and see it like this. And that would be a nice thing too, and working more or less like the automatic control, but with your own definitions. Of course, this is a little bit troublesome, so be very careful about clicking on that. So if I click on that, make sure that if you click on that, you are really aware what you are doing, because otherwise you are going to end up with an uncharged phone at the next morning, because this one was enabled or something. And yeah, what can you see additional to that? As you can see it already here, we have more or less a little bit of a more precise temperature setting. It doesn't really matter, but this is a battery body app running. This is the other one. It's going to tell you more or less the same stuff. This one is even going to tell you how much power is drawn at the moment from your smartphone, and this one is not, but it depends what you like better there. It really doesn't make a lot of difference, and because of that I would highly recommend you to install this one. And if you need this additional please don't charge at the moment setup part there, then you can of course use the other app too, and that should be fine. Both of the apps are going to be findable or searchable in the App Store, and of course in the description box down below I'm going to put in a link to both of these apps so you can download them and try them out. Yeah, and this is more or less what I wanted to tell you in this episode. I hope you had fun and learned something, or if you did learn something perfect, then you already know about all this. And still, if you didn't, please give it a thumbs up, of course, if you liked the video. And of course, if you want to subscribe to the channel, please do that now. If you have any kind of questions, for instance, you just have other kinds of apps or whatever you want to put in there, please do that. That's totally fine. And please put them down below in the commentary section so we all profit from that. And other than that, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. Please have a great time till the next episode, and bye.